I want to see what I can do to insulate this old rattle can with some kind of a floor covering here. Of course it's gonna have to be forest engineering style, i.e. on the cheap. Hey, welcome back to my forest workshop, you oaks. If you don't know me yet, my name is Diff. Now some oaks have asked me to spell it. So there you have it. D-I-V. And you actually say it like you would say the first part of that thing in the back there, man. The differential. So anyway, if the stance of the truck is a little funny, it's because the front is actually on some jack stands. Because I need to take the seats out again. And I wanted the seats out so I can do some kind of a floor covering in here to get a little bit of insulation. So if you're hardcore, you're probably saying, man, just leave it bare metal. Or maybe you've seen one of those beautiful trailer queen rats with all the stunning metalwork and bead rolls and whatnot. But those things are noisy to drive, man. I want to use this as a parts hauler and take it down to town. It's a 60k round trip. That's kilometers. Must be around 40 miles, I'm guessing. I might be wrong. And I'd like to be able to have a little bit of ride comfort. My beard is grey now. You know? I'd like to be able to hear myself think. Or at least listen to a tune on the radio or something. Another reason why this is going to be great for a parts hauler is because of that little 4-banger engine. And I have nice fuel economy there. So yes, and of course, in the spirit of this whole build, I don't want to spend any money. So yeah, let me see what I can come up with. So scratching through my storage shed, I found this roll of torch-on roofing membrane. Membrane, how do you say that word? Membrane? It's quite thick. That's about 4 millimeters, a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. I'm not actually quite sure what it is. I suppose it's some kind of a bitumen. It's not sticky or anything. So surely this will be very good for providing insulation. I think I'm going to use this. So the problem with this stuff, it's not very wearable. I mean, it marks and scratches quite easily. It's not sticky, but it'll get damaged very soon. So I'm going to have to cover this with something. Now yeah, of course the first thought that comes to mind is carpeting. But man, oh man, carpet is just like shiny paint, man. It just causes stress. I mean, it just attracts dust and dirt. And you need to vacuum it to keep it nice and tidy. And in my world, lots of dust, lots of dirt. I'm not interested in carpet. Besides, it's going to cost me a lot of money too. So I need to come up with something that I can put on top of this. That's practical. So I was busy walking around here in my other shed looking for something to use. And then I looked down. And I saw these PVC floor tiles. And a light bulb went on. So I've got some spare PVC floor tiles here. Now what can be more durable and more practical than this? This stuff is really tough. I mean, I could even just hose down the inside of the old truck if I wanted to. If this is my floor covering, I'm going to see if I can use this. These PVC floor tiles interlocks quite easily, like that, which will make fitting them quite straightforward. I would need to cut them to size. And it's 4 millimeters thick. Add other 4 millimeters from my membrane, and I end up with a total thickness of 8 millimeters. That is in inches 5/16. So that's quite extensive, or substantial would be the right word. Now if 8 millimeters of padding doesn't work, then nothing will. So first, making a paper template for each piece that I need will simplify this business a lot. It's easy to cut the paper to shape and mark it and all of that. So I'm going to make a paper template for each piece that I need in here. A paper lined interior, have you ever seen such a thing? I'm using old posters. This one has got something about different lamps, headlight lamps, indicator lamps, license plate lights, etc. Hey, get back to work, Duffy. So now I can crawl around on the floor here for a while. So I got my paper template on top of this material. I'm going to mark it. I found this very short piece of like a light grey pencil. It seems to work well for marking it. So I'm just going to make my marks. And then I'm going to cut it out. In between this, old pair of tin snips and a carpet knife. Or a utility knife, or what do you call these things? I'm on my hands and knees for this truck, man. But I'm making progress here. So the best way to cut this stuff is definitely with a ruler and a knife, like this. That works very well. So I'm only using my tin snips for the curves. So just doing a dry run here, I've made most of my pieces. So I got to start thinking about sticking this stuff down in place. So this stuff is a reinforced and modified bitumen product, and this stuff is an asphalt based paint. So what do I know about these things? But I think they can be good friends. Natural asphalt based black paint. Now, as far as I know, there's bitumen in asphalt. What I do know is that this stuff sticks to anything. Like jam to a wooden blanket, man. So I'm not even going to bother to remove the surface rust here. I'm just going to slap a coat of this stuff everywhere in here. It's actually very thick straight out of the can, so I thinned it down a little bit with enamel reducer just to make it more spreadable. So I'm slapping this stuff all over the old paint and rust. Like I said, it sticks to anything. I just brushed away all the loose bits. Man, I've got nothing to lose here, man. And after all, like Rad Rod Bob says, it's just a rad rod. Holy cow, what a horribly shiny business. And you can see all the buckles in the floor I made. There goes all my credibility. What have I done? What I have done was to bring my whole installation to a grinding halt, because I now gotta wait for this sticky stuff to dry. Says here on the tin, surface dry, 15 minutes, handle after 2 hours. Well, I don't want to touch it, man. I want to handle it. I guess that means I need to clean up the shop while I wait. "15 minutes later." Well, it's not quite touch dry. They were lying. I'm leaving a fingerprint for the next generation. 2 hours later. Well, it doesn't come off anymore, but it's still sticky, man. I'm gonna have to leave this until tomorrow. It's the next day, And it's only slightly tacky now. I think I'm going to start putting in my pieces. So here's the first piece of my roofing membrane. Okay, so these pieces can't go anywhere, but I still would like to stick them down. This piece coming across here definitely needs to be glued in place to hold it in one way or another. So this stuff being a torch on membrane, you would normally use a big ass old flamethrower like this thing to melt the bitumen on the bottom side, and then you can stick it down. Oh man, I can't use this thing in there, I'll set the whole bloody truck on fire. So that's not an option. But I'm thinking of giving it a try with this little baby flamethrower. I don't really think it's necessary to do the whole sheet. Maybe if I just do the edges, just to keep it in place. Let's see how that's going to turn out. So let's do some flame throwing then and see what happens. Alright, that's all nicely malted or melted. How do you say that word? Let's get it down there. Yeah man, I think that's working really well. But I think this plan is working really well, man. Of course, it will only make sense if you can get this stuff for free. I think you can only buy it in a roll, and it will probably be more expensive than the real McCoy stuff. Hey, but maybe your buddy's a roofing contractor, or you can pick up a connection somewhere and get some offcuts for free. Then this really works well, in my opinion. So let's see how this floor tile idea of mine is going to work out. So they do interlock quite easily if you can just get them lined up like that. So I'm going to have to cut this to shape and then make up a piece that can fit in here. And I'm thinking that this stuff is quite tough. So I think I'm going to try and cut it with the bandsaw. Will probably be the easiest. If you don't have a bandsaw, I think a jigsaw would be better than trying to cut. Because I've cut my first pieces. She's not going to go on like that. No, it fits quite well. Let's do the rest of it. And now this one should go in here. And if my measurements were good, it will all line up. Yes man, I think this is going to work well. So the piece that needs to go across the tunnel here is going to go like this, but it needs to be held in place, and I can't glue this to the bitumen. I mean, that's not going to be an easy thing to do. So my plan is I've made up this bracket, what do we call it, from 20mm 3/4 inch flat bar. So the plan is to screw that on like so, and then it will help to hold it in place, and then I can just take this across and do the same on the other side. Yes, like that. I've got my bracket or trim piece screwed down with some self-tapping screws, so I can actually even take it off if I want to. And here there was a seam with that transition from that piece to this piece, so I just covered that up with a strip of steel as well. I think it looks quite smart. The little tacks you see adds to the rat flavor, I think. Right, so I suppose I must do the same here to continue this look right through. So let me go see if I've got some more of this flat bar so I can make one that sits there. So I've cut myself 2 pieces of flat bar. It fits in here nicely. Like that. So I'm just going to tack them together. And to do that I need this angle here. So I'm going to use my bevel gauge to just pick up this angle that we have right there. And there we go. That's what it needs to be. I'm just going to estimate my angle here, give it a few tacks, and then I can check it and change it if need be, or fine tune it rather. That doesn't look bad. I had to tap it with a hammer a few times, but now it's good, I think. And I've got all the tacks in place, so I think I can go try it in the truck. Yeah, it's working well. I've got it in place, it's screwed down. I think it's going to do the job. So here on the edge of the floor I've used a piece of angle bar. This is 25mm or 1 inch. That'll give a very durable corner. It's probably better to use countersunk screws, but I haven't got any at the moment, so this is going to have to do for now. Right, so I've got the whole lot done, both sides. Took a way lot longer than I thought it would. Definitely not plush, luxurious trailer queen stuff, but man, hard wearing, practical, easy to clean, freaking bulletproof for sure. Let me get the seat back in here so we can see what that looks like. Somewhere there, I think. Need to still pick up the holes. Yeah. It's not flash, it's not luxurious, but it's very definitely functional and practical, which is exactly the way I like things. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, I enjoyed it. So I'll see you oaks in the next video. Until then, have a lekker one.